My name is Mary Nathaniel. I was supposed to be on a business trip, but my husband messaged me saying he'd be back in 2 hours. He must have made a special effort to contact me from his trip. At that moment, I genuinely thought so. However, an hour and a half later, another message from my husband. What's this? He usually doesn't message me this often. As I excitedly checked his message, it read, "The private spa at the luxury inn was great, wasn't it?" What? What's this about a luxury inn? A private spa? I didn't go to any. What on earth was he talking about? Just as I was wondering, another message came. I will always love you. What's all this? It definitely wasn't meant for me. That much was clear. So, a mistress? A lover? Cheating? My mind went blank, unable to comprehend. But then, yet another message from my husband. I'll be home for a bit, but I'll head over to you after I change. Wait for me, okay? Despite not messaging me this often as his wife, what diligent messaging. And he even included a heart. What is he doing? Sending messages meant for his affair partner to his wife. Too lost in fantasy, such a mistake. What's going on? My anger rising, my hands trembled, nearly dropping my smartphone. My husband, Mike, and I have been married for 7 years. Our child is in elementary school, and we were managing quite well, or so I thought. We bought our own home, and I've been contributing to our finances through remote work. Lately, Mike has been working overtime and even on weekends, saying we have a mortgage to pay. That's why I stopped my work to cook nutritious meals, all for him. It was all for my husband. To appreciate the hard work he's doing for our family. No matter how late into the night he came back, I always stayed up waiting for him, never going to sleep until he did, and when he was home, I made sure to tell the kids to keep it down. All for my family, for my husband. I believed that was what would make me happy. But cheating, really? Thinking about it, my husband occasionally smelled of perfume. Huh? You smell like perfume. When I got close to his coat to smell the perfume, he frowned. Seriously? Must have been from someone on the subway. Gross. Right, must have been someone wearing too much of it. I believed his words and didn't suspect a thing. But then, I noticed his phone was locked. Why did you put a lock on your phone? Huh? You never used to lock it before, did you? Suddenly, he got angry. That was then. It's my phone, I can do what I want. Don't mess with someone else's phone. He was never the type to get angry over something like this, so why now? Must be in a bad mood. Tired, maybe? That's all I thought. But my husband was getting irritated over little things. Hey, about this weekend. Wanna go out to eat as a family? I've got work that day. What? Working on the weekend again? What's that supposed to mean? You think I'm not working hard for you guys? Why do I have to be accused of this? You've got it easy, just earning a little bit of money from home, acting like you're working so hard. Meanwhile, I'm out here, busy and struggling. Why are you getting so mad? Shut up. I'm going out. I couldn't understand what he was so irritated about. I once read an article about cheating husbands. It mentioned that cheating husbands tend to become more affectionate. Reading other people's comments, it seemed common that husbands became nicer when they were cheating. Because he became irritable, it must mean he's either tired or things aren't going well at work, right? That's what I thought, so I told myself his being quick to anger was understandable. However, my husband, who claimed to be working even on weekends, was leaving for work in casual clothes. Moreover, despite claiming he didn't want to go to work, he left the house whistling a tune. Something was off, alarms were going off in my head. But I had been suppressing those alarms, all for the sake of keeping peace and protecting our child's smile. But cheating, really? What's with the "I'll be waiting"? Saying he was on a business trip, was he actually off on a trip with his mistress? I've never once been on a vacation since we got married. When we got married and had our child, becoming a family, I told my husband repeatedly, please don't ever cheat. It's something any wife would wish for. Then he hugged me, saying, I wouldn't cheat. We have a child, and I don't want to ruin our home by doing something like that. Really? Yes, of course. Making my wife happy is what a man should do. I'd never look at another woman. I'll trust you then. You should, because it'd be tough on me too if you didn't. That's why I believed, more than anyone, that he would never cheat. We used to contact each other as soon as work was over, exchanging messages several times a day. But gradually, our conversations turned into mere exchanges of information, and recently, there were even times when he wouldn't call to say he was coming home. When I talked to my mom about it, she laughed and said, you can't be newlyweds forever. It made me a little sad to think this is how families are made. But if it meant a secure life, maybe that was okay. Yet now, cheating? Was everything he told me just to keep me at ease and cover up his cheating? Furious, I decided to reply to his message. I'll be waiting. No reply came from him. Confirmed cheating. I won't let this end here. He's had his fun, and I'll make sure he regrets it. After waiting 10 minutes with no reply, I stared at my phone screen and decided to follow up. Looks like you mistook me for your mistress. A reply came immediately. What are you talking about? There's no one else for me to mistake you with, so how could I possibly make a mistake? Oh, but how can I not think it's a mistake based on what you wrote? What's gotten into you? Are you the one mixing things up? Interesting. I haven't seen texts like this recently. I will always love you, really? That was just me trying to express my love properly for once. Oh, thanks. So, what about the private spa at the luxury inn? Did I write that? Why don't you read it again? It's clearly written. Must have been a typo. You know how it happens. A typo, huh? I wonder how typing anything could result in that kind of mistake. How, it doesn't matter. It was just left over from when I was looking up places for us to go. Oh, you wanted to go to a private spa at a luxury inn with me? No, I just looked it up, but didn't find any good place. Is that so? That's too bad. You see, I didn't send anything wrong, did you get that? Then what's with I'll be home for a bit, then I'm heading out again, wait for me, huh? Which home? You have another place to return to? A moment of silence. Probably thinking up some lame excuse. No reply for a while. Hey, where are you going back to? Where's your home? I was dreaming. Huh? Was this the best excuse he could come up with after all that thought? A dream? Yeah, that's right. I was dreaming. That's why I wrote such nonsensical stuff. Is that so? Yeah, that's the case. You're laughing it off, thinking this is all just too funny, aren't you? Not at all, I was genuinely just groggy, that's all. Right, things like that happen, huh? See? What do you think I am? No one's gonna believe that. Who would believe such a thing? No, really, it's the truth. Really? So, when you said you'd be home for a bit and then head out again, claiming it was all a dream, does that mean you're not going out after all? You're tired from your business trip, so you wouldn't go out again, right? Of course not. Oh, so you're coming home? After that, there was no more contact from my husband. Even when his expected return time came, he didn't come back. What? Not only not going out, but not coming back at all. How much more are you gonna mock me? Annoyed, I waited for any contact from him, and then he messaged me. Got caught up with work suddenly, so I won't be able to come home tonight. So that's your strategy. Clearly avoiding coming home to avoid a showdown, huh? Fine. If that's how you want to play it, I'm not losing either. As a start to my retaliation, I sent him a stamp with good work written on it. In the stamp, there was a small demon riding a tank. For a week, my husband came home as usual, acting as if nothing had happened. There was hardly any conversation between us, creating a Cold War situation in front of our child. Our little daughter, oblivious to the chilled atmosphere between her parents, happily ate her meals and went to school. But on the weekend, after dropping my daughter off at my parents', I waited for my husband, who had claimed to be working but ran off to his mistress instead. And just like always, he came home past midnight. It seemed he thought the storm had passed since I believed his flimsy excuses for the past week. I'm home. Today was tough too. It's hard being this busy every day. Despite claiming to be busy, my husband didn't look tired at all, rather he seemed quite pleased with himself. Watching him, I screamed inside my head. Let's start the counterattack, shall we? Did you enjoy your date with Mirabelle? His hand, removing his coat, froze. What? It was a date, right? You seem refreshed. What are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean. Oh, Mirabelle, right? Your mistress? Don't say stupid things. There's no way I have someone like that. Are you imagining things? His face turned pale as he said this. Instead of moving, I took the hanger and received his coat from him. As I hung it up, I stroked the inside of the collar and showed him a small microphone. The microphone these days are so high-tech, aren't they? So small, yet they can record everything. You had that planted on me. Yes, since you mistook your mistress for me and sent those messages, I wanted to know. This must have your entire day recorded on it, huh? Where you went with Mirabelle, what you ate, what you did. Maybe even some voices too embarrassing to hear? I would never do such a thing. You must be misunderstanding something. Oh, whether it's a misunderstanding or not, we'll know once we listen to this, right? There's no need to listen to that. Don't you trust me? It's funny how people who do wrong always get defensive like that, claiming they're not at fault. I would never do something like that. I haven't done anything shady. How can you say such things to a husband who's been working for his family? Spouses should trust each other. Trust? After doing something that makes it impossible to trust, you want me to trust you? After receiving those messages, trusting you would be insane. That was just me mixing up dreams and reality. You agreed to that, didn't you? If that were true, you wouldn't be mad about the microphone, right? If you have nothing to hide, that is. Yeah, but still, that's not right. I've been working for my family. I'm doing the same, you know. You say my remote work is easy, but I'm the one working, taking care of the house, and raising our child without any breaks. Yet, you're having a good time with your mistress. You think that's acceptable? I don't have a mistress. If only you'd understand. Well, if that's the case, listening to this mic recording shouldn't be a problem, right? Because you've been working so hard for the family, right? And since you don't have a mistress, listening to it shouldn't be an issue, right? No problem. Good. Then let's listen to it together. Fine. Give it here, I'll transfer it to the computer. Instead of going to the computer, my husband snatched the microphone from my hand and ran to the corner of the room where the tropical fish tank was placed. In a moment, he dropped it into the tank. What are you doing? What a shame, I really wanted us to listen to it together, but now that it's fallen into the water, we can't listen to it anymore. Truly, it's a pity, my husband said, sporting a sly smile. Going to such lengths to prevent it, I must admit, it's commendable in a way. All he's doing is fueling my anger even more, but still, he goes through with it, which is indeed praiseworthy. But this doesn't mean the evidence is gone. After all, I have even bigger evidence in my possession. By doing something like that, you're practically admitting to having an affair, you know. What? Because you have something to hide, that's why you did it, right? Acting without thinking, how foolish. What? I'm not having an affair. I just disposed of something unnecessary. You need to stop suspecting people so much. Oh, is that so? I reached into a drawer to prepare my second line of attack and pulled out a large envelope. The name of a detective agency was printed on it. Do you know what this is? What's that? This is a report from a detective agency. I had them conduct an investigation on you. And they've thoroughly documented your affair with a woman. This will show that your partner is Mirabelle. You went to those lengths? Why? Isn't it obvious? You insist you're not having an affair and refuse to apologize. To discipline someone like you, evidence is necessary, right? And for a divorce, you can't get compensation without evidence. Divorce. Yes. I've cherished our family all this time. I've tried to protect this home and our daughter's smile. But you never cared about any of that, did you? I said as I pulled out several photographs from the envelope. The pictures showed my husband and Mirabelle looking cozy together. Can I continue to be married to someone like this? That's the biggest issue, isn't it? She and I, it was going to end eventually. So you admit it. But really, will it end? You want to keep going with her, but also want to keep this family life because we have a daughter, right? But I can't go on with someone who doesn't care about destroying his family. You wouldn't take your family on a vacation, yet you go to a luxury inn with her for a private spa. I never wanted to hear such a joke. If you really want to go to a spa that badly, I'll take you there next time. What? That condescending tone. I don't need you to take me, I can go with my daughter just fine. What I wanted was to go with a husband who loves his child and loves me. You have no appeal to me anymore. So, let's end this. Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. I don't want to be with someone who's betrayed me. You're that prepared, huh? Yes, you've made me that prepared. I see. Thank you for understanding. Now, please sign this. A divorce paper? You had this prepared? If I was planning to leave, of course I'd have a divorce paper ready. He stared at the divorce paper but then took the pen and started to write his name smoothly. After finishing, he threw it on the table as if to discard it. Well, fine. Even if we separate, I have Mirabelle. I was thinking of remarrying her eventually anyway. So it's no big deal. Good for you. Then, please pay the alimony and child support. I get the alimony, but child support? Since I'm getting custody, it's only natural you pay child support, right? Or are you planning to take care of our daughter? I bet Mirabelle wouldn't like that. And I don't intend to entrust her to your future wife either. All right. We can talk about that later. Yes, we should. If we can't settle it, then I'll have to ask a lawyer. You don't have the money to afford a lawyer? Well, we'll see about that. I do work, you know. With the remote work you looked down on. In truth, my income far surpasses my husband's. That's why I had no hesitation about the divorce. Without income, being left by my husband would have been a concern for the future. Being able to leave without feeling that fear might be a fortunate thing for a woman getting divorced. Now, leave. Fine, I'm going. I'm going to Mirabelle. Please do. If you can. He left the house with heavy breaths. But I knew what awaited him. And that night, just as I was thinking of picking up my daughter, as expected, my separated husband, Mike, came back. Mary, open up. The doorbell rang, and looking at the monitor, there was Mike. Oh, Mike. What's up? Did you forget something? Can you let me in? I won't. Please, let me in. Why should I? You went to Mirabelle's place, right? You said you were going to live together. That's true, but when I went to Mirabelle's, she said she didn't want to live together. Oh dear, why is that? Come on, I'll explain everything. Just open the door. Even though we're divorced, you're a man and I'm a woman. It's not appropriate for a woman to let a man into her place when she's alone. Don't say that. I have nowhere to go. Are you really going to leave me out in the cold like this? You signed the divorce papers, didn't you? I've already submitted them to the city hall. That means we're officially divorced. I understand, but go find another woman's place. Don't say that. I have nowhere else to go. How pitiful. Reluctantly, I opened the door, but I had no intention of letting him into the house. Instead, I decided to listen to what Mike had to say right there.
Can't you let me live here with you?
Huh? Without any explanation or anything, you expect me to just say yes? I'm single now. That's too cold. We were husband and wife just a few hours ago. In heart, we were strangers long before that. Besides, you're the one who had an affair, so why are you coming to me? You should live with her. She said it's too soon to live together. Oh, why's that? I don't know. Even though we loved each other so much, living together is a different issue, she says. I can kind of see that. What do you mean? Well, she has another man, doesn't she?
No, that can't be.
Impossible. Oh dear, you didn't read the report properly, did you? The detective's report mentioned her too. That she has another man besides you. No way. If you think it's a lie, then so be it. Mike's face changed color, and he looked utterly shocked. It's surprising how much he had believed in her. How could such a seemingly pure person do something like that? Who knows? Maybe she was just pretending to be innocent. Mike, speechless, dashed out of the house. I locked the door behind him, laughing. Mike had run off to her place and started banging on the door impatiently, not even waiting for Mirabelle to open it. He forced the door open.
What the hell?
Mike's gaze immediately fell on a pair of men's shoes discarded in the entryway.
What are these?
What's what?
Why are there men's shoes here?
That's.
Does this mean you have another man besides me? Why are you here all of a sudden, yelling at me? There's no need to shout.
You never let me into this room. Why is this man allowed in?
Isn't it obvious? Because he's the one I really want.
The one you really want? Then what am I? Look, it's hard for me when you say things like that. You have a wife, so what am I supposed to do? You were just a fling, right? So why should I be the one getting blamed?
I divorced for you. I never asked you to divorce. You've always treated me like just an affair. And now you want exclusivity. That's just not possible. No, I was serious.
If you were serious, why did you keep it a secret from your wife? You hid it because it was just a fling, right? Didn't you realize that? There's such a thing as timing, you know.
What a hassle. I hate dealing with this kind of drama. Drama? I thought Mirabelle was more, pure-hearted, someone who only cared about me. You think someone like that exists in this world? Are you stupid? That's just your fantasy. I'm going to enjoy my time with my boyfriend now, so please leave.
Boyfriend? I'm not your boyfriend?
No, you're not. We're done. It was perfect timing since I was getting bored of you anyway, she said as she pushed Mike out and closed the door.
I can't believe this. If you were going to end it, you should have said so before we got divorced. Mike called me, unable to hide his shock. His voice sounded utterly pathetic. Mary. Oh, Mike. Where are you now? At my parents' house. I have nowhere to go. Oh, why? What about her? We broke up. You found out she had another man? Yeah, she told me I was just a fling. I see, tough break. I broke up with her. I heard you the first time. So let's start over. Huh? Save your sleep talk for when you're asleep. It's not sleep talk. I've woken up. Sounds like sleep talk to me. Please, let's start over. I won't betray you this time. We're not starting over. We're divorced. It's over. Divorce is just one process. That means we can start anew from here. Let's get remarried. That makes no sense. Divorce means I didn't want to be with you anymore. Why would I take back someone I didn't want? Do you think I'm some kind of goddess? Yes, that's exactly it. You are a goddess to me. The only goddess for me.
You betrayed that goddess, so there's nothing that can be done.
I can't believe you won't consider remarrying me after all I've done. Why won't you?
The nerve to act so entitled after cheating. Unbelievable. And for the record, I don't owe anything to you. Everything I have is thanks to my own efforts.
How can you be so cold?
Thanks to you making me suffer, I've become stronger.
I see, that's how it is. Fine then. I'll sell the house. What a sudden change of direction. Since we're getting divorced, there's property division. It's better to turn the house into cash than to leave it as it is. Indeed. So, you'll give me half of what you sell it for, right? Yeah, I'll give you half of the sale price. But remember, you're also losing the house. You disregarded me, now you'll truly understand what it was like to have me around. Afterwards, my husband really put the house up for sale. I quickly bought the house we had lived in for 7 years, and I received half of what Mike got from the sale. Mike was thrilled, thinking I'd lost my place to live and was in the same position as him, and he called me. How does it feel to have nowhere to live? You realize now how great it was to have me, don't you? Oh, what a surprise. I've secured a place to live just fine. Where? The house we lived in for 7 years. There's no place like home, after all. How? You shouldn't have the money for that. Unfortunately for you, I earned far more with my remote work than you ever did. So buying this house was no big deal for me. You bought the house with the money from property division and income after our marriage? Wrong again. The money I used to buy this house was from savings I had before we got married. You had that kind of money? Then, that should have been divided as well. More bad news for you. Savings from before marriage don't need to be divided. You really should study up. That's ridiculous. Unable to hide his shock, Mike hung up. Having lost his place to live, Mike boasted, I have a job, so I can afford a slightly expensive property, and apparently rented a luxury apartment. Later, I demanded alimony from Mike and Mirabelle. I also demanded child support from Mike. Thanks to that, in addition to my income, the child support allowed me to provide a proper education for our daughter. However, Mike was demanded a severance payment by the woman. Why a severance payment? Surprised, Mike immediately contacted the woman. She boldly stated,
After all the fun we had, it's only natural I demand compensation. Consider it a severance payment for breaking up with me.
Rejecting such demands led the woman to storm into Mike's company. There, she tearfully protested to Mike's direct supervisor, claiming I was toyed with by Mike. Such behavior was not tolerated by the company, and Mike was demoted, with his salary significantly reduced. Eventually, he couldn't afford the rent and had to move from his apartment to a much lower quality apartment. Despite this, life didn't get any easier for him, as he was busy working a day job and a night job. As for me, my work from home is going well, and it's more than enough for me and my child to live on. We have a home, so we're living peacefully. I've never once regretted parting